Chào mừng quý vị và các bạn đến với chương trình Tôi và Việt Nam trên kênh truyền hình FBNC. Và trong chương trình ngày hôm nay thì chúng tôi chào đón đến trường quay một vị khách mời đặc biệt đến từ tập đoàn GE, một tập đoàn đa quốc gia, đa ngành nghề đã có mặt tại Việt Nam hơn 20 năm qua ở nhiều lĩnh vực, trong đó có lĩnh vực y tế, một lĩnh vực mà Việt Nam đang được hưởng rất nhiều lợi ích từ những dịch vụ cũng như là sản phẩm tiên tiến của GE. Xin mời quý vị cùng gặp gỡ với ông David Utama, là chủ tịch và giám đốc điều hành của GE Healthcare khu vực Đông Nam Á. Thank you so much for coming.
My pleasure.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Ngày 21 tháng 11, GE Healthcare, doanh nghiệp thuộc tập đoàn General Electric, vừa giới thiệu bộ thiết bị giúp duy trì sự sống và cải thiện quá trình phát triển của trẻ sơ sinh tại Việt Nam. Bộ sản phẩm bao gồm giường sưởi ấm Lullaby Warmer Primes, hai thiết bị chống ngạt Lullaby Reset Primes và Lullaby Reset Plus. Đặc điểm chung của các sản phẩm này là có độ bền cao, dễ sử dụng, phù hợp với điều kiện biến động điện áp, nhiệt độ, hơi nóng, khói bụi ở Việt Nam và dễ dàng sử dụng tại các cơ sở y tế, tuyến huyện, xã. Cụ thể, giường sưởi ấm Lullaby Warmer có thể vận hành mà không cần máy ổn áp, chịu được biến động điện áp cao lên tới 380V, tiết kiệm lượng điện năng tiêu thụ. Trong khi đó, Lullaby Reset Prime và Lullaby Reset Plus là những hoặc ngay trong ngày đầu sau sinh tại Việt Nam. Việc đổi mới khoa học công nghệ có thể góp phần quan trọng trong việc giảm tỷ lệ tử vong ở trẻ sơ sinh hiện nay.
Contributing to the developments of healthcare industry in Vietnam.
Right.
So looking back 2 years, what were some of the biggest achievements that you witnessed?
I think we've worked very well with the Ministry of Health. One thing that we are very proud of Vietnam is progressing significantly. The spending of healthcare is very well received. I think it's ahead of most of the other countries. But from a GE perspective on the agreement that we had, we commit to the Ministry of Health of providing more training, more education. We've been delivering that. This year alone, we have done 81 events.
81 events.
Around training and clinical education. Working with many institutions, associations, and hospitals. We've brought in also key opinion leaders, speakers from outside the region, from the US or Europe, even from neighboring countries in Southeast Asia, because we believe through training and education will continue to help bring capacity and capability building for the country. And we will continue to work with the ministry. We've done some best practice sharing that we know across the business and other places. For example, the recent AMDD, ASEAN Medical Device Directive around harmonization. We've done lean training for the country.
What is lean training?
Lean is basically when it comes to processes of how can you do better workflow. The concept is eliminating waste. So GE is big into processes, and we have also adopted and learned from other places, and we bring the best practice sharing into the country.
When we look at the Vietnam's healthcare industry, the two major problems you might have known already: the overcrowded of the urban hospital,
right,
and the lack of professional, well-trained let's say medical professionals. So, from your experience, how can we solve the problem?
I think It's definitely challenging, and definitely not only in Vietnam. Most developing countries have similar issues, but specific to your question about Vietnam, where the urban hospital, I think statistically is overcrowded by having a capacity of 150%, sometimes 250, simply because people from the rural area are seeking treatment in the big cities.
Sure.
So from a technology standpoint, GE is always partnering with many hospitals. But beyond that, I think we want to work with the government around providing better access to rural. Today, if you look into what people is having challenges is access of healthcare into the rural sector is very minimal. Be it from a professional healthcare provider, be it from an equipment standpoint, and or the whole primary care setting. So this is where we're very excited that the government is actually serious about building this. If you see what the Vietnam government has done, they have really worked into places of increasing access into the rural sector.
But the hospitals in the rural areas, they often don't have big budget. So how can they afford to buy equipments, advanced equipments and products from GE?
Well, equipment, this is when you talk about equipment, right, there always a high-tech equipment. But what GE is doing today, we also develop a program which is called Healthymagination. Healthymagination is built around 3 pillars. Basically, it's the global challenges that we see, and it's very similar everywhere else. Number 1 is how can we increase access? Number 2, how can we provide better quality of healthcare delivery? And number 3 is how can we deliver it at a better cost? Right, so Healthymagination is working around this concept, and we also produce products that will meet these categories. So far, we have launched about 100 products that will fall into Healthymagination category
products.
That is addressing the need. So to the point of the concept, people think if you want to buy medical equipment, diagnostic devices, it's becoming more affordable so that regional hospitals, smaller clinics can afford to buy. And that's what we're working on.
So how many of those 100 products will be available to Vietnam?
Well, we will, eventually everything will.
Okay.
Today there is a registration, and we're working with the government of making sure that what is the need for the country will introduce.
So now you're based in Singapore. In your opinions, what kind of lesson from Singapore? Because Singapore have a very sophisticated healthcare industry. What do you think is the lesson that we can learn to apply in Vietnam?
I think the lesson is not necessarily learning from just particular country. It's really working with the government. And so far we've been very pleased to see how the Vietnam government has been positively responding. If you look into the spending, Vietnam is actually ahead.
Spend a lot on healthcare.
Compared to many of the other neighboring countries, right? Vietnam is already spending at a rate of 6+% of GDP into healthcare expenditure, where other places, many of them are still below 5. So from that aspect, actually, Vietnam should be a good model for many places.
Okay.
Right. So I'm very pleased to see that. So, but if you look into the whole treatment, this is where we necessarily not saying one is better than the other. It's how can we share and improve, right? But so far has been a very positive response, and the government has been very serious in addressing the needs.
You were talking about the training for medical professionals. I believe that you have like an institution, like a program to bring experts from overseas back in Vietnam to do some training. Specifically, do you have any plan to cooperate with like school and universities?
We work with teaching hospitals. We work with associations in GE healthcare, especially in Southeast Asia. We have a virtual organization called the ASEAN Healthcare Learning Institute.
Virtual, like online learning?
Can be online, can be, it's not restricted to a building in Singapore or Vietnam or Indonesia, and we can bring the training into the country. And this year alone, we have done 81 events, right, around training and clinical education in Vietnam. So even recently, we are finalizing agreement with Bach Mai of providing a patient monitoring system that is a full integrated system from the emergency all the way to ICU, and it's beyond just equipment. It's the workflow, the setup on how to run patient monitoring.
Thank you. We'll get back to that after a short break. Thank you.
Thank
Thưa quý vị, vừa rồi là những chia sẻ của ông David Utama, là chủ tịch và là giám đốc điều hành của GE Healthcare khu vực Đông Nam Á. Chúng tôi sẽ còn quay trở lại trong phần tiếp theo với phần trò chuyện này. Quý vị có thể xem lại chương trình trên website fbnc.vn hoặc là facebook.com/tôi về Việt Nam. Chúng tôi sẽ còn quay trở lại sau ít phút nữa.